What's good, people? It's your boy Rhino. Welcome back to MGTV. This is your latest news. This is not even your latest news today, man. This is a little rant from me. This is a little rant, man. Make sure you like the video, people. Subscribe to the channel. Put post notifications on, please. I appreciate it, man. Put my phone on silent. Listen, you rival fans are doing too much. I can't lie. You guys are doing way too much. And I'm actually tired of it, man. I get the whole ban RN, draw out your rival clubs and let's pull out figures and you guys spent this much and pressure's on Ten Hag and this player's not good and all of that. I understand all of that. When we are in the football world and we are here as fans to criticize, we criticize our own clubs and we criticize rival clubs because we are allowed to share our opinion. But I think it's funny because I feel like a lot of fans feel like this with their own club. They feel like rivals hate on their club a lot. Like I know a lot of Arsenal fans that will feel like people hate on Arsenal too much. And then there's probably Chelsea fans that feel the same way, or Man City fans and whatever. But let's be real. In terms of like how big Manchester United is, I think Manchester United gets spoke about probably top three the most. And probably rival fans will think their club gets spoken about the most. But in terms of how big Manchester United is, I reckon Manchester United gets spoken about the most. And for me, like, even just this whole Onana and Hojlund hate, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. Hojlund hasn't even kicked a football yet, and the hate on him is crazy. It's crazy, bro. Like, yes, the price for Hojlund was quite high. Even when I looked back and done some research and realized what the package was and whatever, I was quite, you know, shocked about how much we paid for him. But listen, at the end of the day, let's be realistic. Even if we pay cheap for him, people are always gonna find something to say. That's the true facts of it, man. But let me start even with just the Onana and Hojlund hate, man. People doing compilations, oh, this goal was Onana's fault, and people are even talking about Onana and Harry Maguire. I see some quotes from Andy Cole. I see some quotes with Dwight York. Our own people are being so negative towards our signings. Listen, I respect Dwight York. I respect Andy Cole. Even when I look at my profile of when I used to play football, I always use like Andy Cole as an idea of how I used to play in terms of having that little bit of pace, playing with another striker with you, bouncing the balls, pause, because there's pause police nowadays, even though I'm tired of saying pause as well. But like passing around the football to each other and then scoring great goals, especially them little side footed goals. You feel me? But listen, yeah, come on, let Onana settle in. Yes, he's the new Manchester United #1 goalkeeper. Yes, there was a lot of hate towards De Gea, but rightly so. I just don't understand why it's like you're not allowed to criticize somebody because it seems like people say, and don't try and catch me out and say, oh, but we're criticizing and Rhino, you're saying it's hate. There's a difference between hate and criticism. And when criticism goes too far or there's completely no context and it's uncalled for, it's hate. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's like you just want to find a problem. That's hate. If you're just being objective and sensible, it's not hate. That's criticism, constructive criticism. But if you're just finding negatives in everything, at some point I'm gonna class it as hate. Cool. Highland, Onana. Onana's in. Yes, he's very progressive. He's very flamboyant. He likes to play with his feet. I'm seeing quotes. Oh, when he makes mistakes, watch the people that hated on De Gea. Come on. Let's be realistic. De Gea has passed his time. He's a great shot stopper. He's a great legend for our club. I love De Gea. But you have to accept times and move on. When Alex Ferguson was moving on players, like players that were in their prime, what? He got the criticism, but he did the right thing. I just don't understand. It's like you can't do nothing right unless it's done the way that pundits think it has to be done. You guys' time is different to the time now. De Gea is not a modern goalkeeper. Modern goalkeepers, one of their main attributes, apart from protecting the goal from the football, obviously, is to have great distribution. And De Gea doesn't have that. The way Ten Hag wants to play requires distribution. Yes, Onana's going to make mistakes. Yes, he's going to fumble. But so do all great goalkeepers. But I just don't understand why, just because we heavily criticize De Gea for the very drastic mistakes he done, it means that we have to basically keep basically, because we had an opinion with De Gea, and I'm saying we because I've had my small fair share of criticism, but I still love De Gea. I wasn't like slandering him or saying get out of the club or nothing like that. But it's like, if we now have a strong opinion on De Gea, it must mean that Onana must not make no mistakes. Or if Onana makes mistakes, we must go back to De Gea. What sense does that make? I just don't understand that. And me, I try to be very objective. So look, I'm not happy with A, B, and C with what De Gea done. Okay, Onana's in. Onana has to be perfect. No, Onana is allowed to make mistakes, and I'm going to criticize him the same way. But I know the overall package of what he brings to the team is a significant upgrade to De Gea. That is facts. Facts. Like females say, period, full stop. It's a fact. His overall attributes of what he brings to the club is an upgrade on De Gea. He might not be as good as a shot stopper as De Gea, but don't take one attribute of De Gea to try and match up to 3 or 4 attributes that Onana has over De Gea. One attribute. So let's say De Gea's shot stopping is better than Onana's. Okay, his distribution is not better. His pass accuracy is not better. The confidence that he has behind the back in terms of helping the team play out from the back is not better. So because De Gea is an excellent shot stopper, that must overweigh 3 attributes. No, football don't work like that. You get a player and you take the most positives you can. If De Gea had decent distribution, he'd probably still be here. But he has 0. He causes a lot of shakiness at the back. And I'm not blaming just him. Obviously, in conjunction with just the chemistry of him and the defenders causes a lot of, shakiness at the back. So Onana, give him time. Stop expecting him to fail. Stop saying watch Premier League. He's going to understand the Premier League soon, and he's going to realize maybe there's certain things he can and can't do. But let's allow him to have time, people. Let's allow Onana to have time, allow him to settle in, allow him to make his mistakes, allow him to start adjusting. Everyone needs an adjustment period. But I feel like as soon as he makes his first mistake, they're going to slander him. And that's nonsense to me. Look at Ramsdale. Ramsdale's for sale now, apparently. Funny enough, I was watching Goldbridge, and Goldbridge was it Goldbridge or I can't remember who I was watching. I never remember who I was watching sometimes when I'm trying to give an example. It's like my mind goes blank, but I feel like people were actually criticizing Ramsdale a lot just before this news came out. So it's quite ironic that people are now noticing that Ramsdale's distribution ain't the greatest, and certain things to his game are not the greatest. And that makes sense to why Arteta would want to replace him if it's true. But yeah, moving on to Hojlund. The Hojlund hate, yes, he was overpaid for. I see a lot of people tweeting, and the Glazers don't spend. No Manchester United fan has complained that the Glazers don't spend. All we complain about is how they are spending. That's the problem. How they are spending. Something that's 40 million, we're paying 80. Why? and then the pressure gets put on Ten Hag because he spent all this money. But realistically, maybe you should be knocking off at least 150 mil off that if you add up all the amounts we've overspent on players. Anthony was at least 20, 30 mil too much. So was Martinez. People might argue Casemiro. 1 minute you want to say Martinez was a bargain, he's a great defender. The next minute you want to say we paid too much. Which one's which? I understand that Ten Hag's got pressures. I understand that Hojlund's going to have pressures because he's going to be the focal point. Even though he's young, he's raw. I see some people saying, oh, I don't want to hear that he's only 20 and this and that. Age don't mean nothing. Of course it means something. Age and experience do mean something. Same way if a player's 24 and he's been in the Prem for a couple of years, we're going to criticize him differently. We're not going to say age don't mean nothing. Age does mean something because at the end of the day, his age was going to show his inexperience. His age is going to show that, okay, I'm still young. It's scientifically proven that when a footballer gets to a certain age, that's when they start to develop their IQ and their awareness and stuff. Some things have to be learned, and that's the fact. So we have to factor in Hojlund's age. We have to factor in the lack of his inexperience in the Premier League. Come on now, let's use our common sense, people. Because when it's your team and your player, all of a sudden, oh, but this, oh, but that. So it's the same pressure. Chelsea spent all of that money. Yes, fans and rivals laughed at them and whatnot, but they need to be held to the same accountability. Because I feel like now Poch has come, that Chelsea kind of trainers reset now. Why? They spent between 500 and 600 million, and we don't have the same expectations for them. They must be top four, and they're spending even more now. But when it's Man United, oh, you guys have spent this and Ten Hag, the pressure's on him. It's his second season. I even see someone say, oh, don't compare Arteta to Ten Hag because Arteta has got way less experience. But you guys were the same guys that were saying that Arteta's better than Ten Hag. But now when it suits UFC, oh, we can't judge Arteta. He hasn't got experience. Ten Hag's been there and done that. Oh, so now Ten Hag's got more experience. Ten Hag must be the better manager now. Which one's which, man? Which one's which? I swear I'm sick and tired of it. Sometimes I don't even want to read through Twitter. And don't get it twisted. I understand the whole banter and saying outlandish stuff and getting people's attention. I get that. So fair enough, but I think sometimes people are doing way too much. We need to have these double standards. The contradictions are criminal. They're criminal, man. So I do agree that Ten Hag has pressure on him. I do. I agree. He has. He's experienced. He's been in the Champions League and whatnot. But at the same time, it's still his second season in the Premier League. It's like we expect so much of our rivals, but we don't hold that same accountability to ourselves. If I'm Arsenal right now, we have to compete again. We can't go backwards. If I'm Chelsea, all the money that we've spent, we need to be at least top four. We were 12th last season. If I'm Man City probably is the only exception, but they still have targets to reach. Maybe to try and get a few trophies and whatnot. Who else? Liverpool, I'm sure they've got high expectations. Make sure they're in top four and etc. But 1 minute, oh, top four is cool. Let's aim for top four. Then the next minute, oh, how can you aim for top four? Your club should have higher standards. You should be challenging. Where's the context of everything? Like, there's no context. People put in and take out the context however they please, and it's so annoying. And we're not perfect. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but come on, people. Let's have sensible, objective conversations, man. Let's give someone like Hojlund time. It's not his fault that we paid 75 mil. It's not his fault, or whatever the package was. It's not Hojlund's fault. It's the negotiations with the Glazers. I mean, not the Glazers. It's our negotiation team like Murta and all of that. You feel me? And partly the Glazers as well. People want to complain that the Glazers are spending for us. They're not spending correctly. If I know a chocolate's 50p and I purposely give the shopkeeper extra money and I keep giving him 150, £2 for something that's 50p, does that, there's context to what's happening. I'm overspending. And then when you start looking at the money that my budget, you're going to realize that my budget is short. Then when it's time to buy the right items, because I keep overspending on a piece of chocolate, bro, then now I can't buy certain things. That's the Glazers. We overspend. And then now that creates more pressure on us. Because instead of 500 mil, we've spent maybe 800 just because we overspend and we're not good at negotiations. That's the context of why we don't like the Glazers, why we want a proper competent team, why we want a proper director of football. People are criticizing Ten Hag. They're saying, oh, Ten Hag only goes for these players, and we don't have a competent team. That we got a decent scouting system, but we don't have a whole management system in place. When the new owners come in, if they still do come in, we're gonna get rid of Murta and all of these people, and we're gonna get in a proper director of football and a proper panel that's gonna handle all of the negotiations, handle the scoutings and all of that stuff. But for now, we just have to make do. So I take the positives from last year. Yes, I do understand that Ten Hag can't go below what he achieved last season because we've added more players and he's got the players he wants. But don't criticize us and blame us for the overspending and say we spent this so we must challenge. To a degree, yes, but don't get the context mixed up because we overspent. It's not our fault we overspent. It's the owners. It's the negotiation team. Hojlund should be at least 50 mil, including add-ons. Facts. Because if we were selling someone like Garnacho, if Hojlund is worth that, Garnacho's 100 mil then, hypothetically. You know what I'm saying? But obviously the striker market is a bit dense right now and people are just inflating prices and the Man United tax. I understand. But come on, people, man. Let's make sure we're adding context. And let's reduce the contradictions, man. I understand opinions can change, but whatever standards you hold for a rival club, hold it for your own team, please. Simple. Simple, man. But yeah, man, I just wanted to let that out, man. There's no structure to what I'm saying. I'm saying it as I think it, you know. But we need to give these players time, you know. Same way we gave NUNEZ time. Yes, you laugh at NUNEZ or you tease him, but after a while, you kind of, when you're having an objective conversation, when you're having a sensible conversation, you are gonna give these people time. Because I've been saying people like NUNEZ need time. What are we gonna now get onto him? Because what? How much did Liverpool spend? What, nearly 100 mil or 80 mil, whatever? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, where's the balance? Hojlund hasn't even kicked a football yet, and there's so much pressure on him. And he's younger than NUNEZ. And he's more probably raw than NUNEZ, because NUNEZ scored a lot more goals in that league he came from than Hojlund did. But then Hojlund as well only came on as a sub more time. So Hojlund's GA is actually a lot better than it is, because people are not factoring the fact that the amount of minutes he played in those games that he did score goals. So we're judging it that every game was 90 minutes. Some games he only played like 30 minutes. Some games he only played like a half. You know? Yes, you can be objective and say, okay, if he's not playing full games, he might not be good enough. But that's what happens when you're buying potential. You buy potential to try and make it into something greater, you know? But yeah, man, that's me, man. I've been nearly talking for 20 minutes. Onana and Hojlund hate. Listen, Twitter is just becoming toxic, but you know, rival fans are doing too much. Criminal contradictions, pressures on Ten Hag, I understand, but let's be more objective, people. Let's be more sensible. Let's have some sensible football conversations, man. Because I feel like sometimes people are just going over the top. But listen, you guys let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like the video if you can. Subscribe to my channel, put post notifications on. This is Rhino, and I'm out, man. Peace. And as always, tell a friend to tell a friend, man. Peace.
Hey, I swear firms and rents pattern this.